Welcome back, everyone. Today we are obviously talking about this optic, as you probably guessed from the title and the thumbnail. This is what I think is probably the most underrated, if you will, Aimpoint optic. I think that's fair to say at this point. It's been out now for a little over a year and a half. I've had mine in since before they were actually released, so mine came in before they were announced. We have had it on a couple different guns, but mostly it has lived on this particular gun right here. This is a B&T SD, so this one is integrally suppressed, and actually this particular firearm and this particular optic went with me during Hurricane Helene operations, which were just about a year ago now, as of when we're recording this, in many aircraft, in many off-road vehicles, all those sorts of things across Appalachia, as we were getting needed supplies to people in need. So this gun was the backpack gun, if you will, that I took with me on a lot of those trips, which honestly, a lot of those trips are a little bit sketchy. No power in a lot of areas. And when you approached people, they didn't know if you were a looter or someone there to help them. So it was by my side the entire time. That's why it is pretty banged up. It's actually missing the optics covers. I have no idea where they went. But I suppose with that, let's talk about the actual optic itself, the setup of it, not just where I took it. So as you guys can see, just looking at it, it is based off the Acro. However, versus the P2, which is pistol, C2 is for carbines. So it's a little bit different in some ways. Number one, the biggest difference is going to be the fact that it does have lens covers on it from the factory. I'm sure if I asked the folks at Aimpoint, they would send those out. But we do have these little slits there at the front and the rear, and the optics covers actually go down over it. And basically the rear optics cover goes up 270 degrees, so that way it's completely out of your vision. So that way, if you're looking over the optic like this, there's not something sticking up, occluding your vision from what you're looking at. And then the front one pops up 90 degrees once again, so that way it is in no way occluding your vision. So the way the optic covers are actually designed is fairly smart. That said, again, the problem with them is they just slide on from the top, which means they also slide off from the top. So I did lose mine. So just keep that in mind. Most of you guys will not be doing that, because I'm assuming most of you guys are not going to be riding on four-wheelers and dirt bikes across a hurricane relief area. So there is that. And then actually looking at the optic itself, being that it is, of course, of the P2 lineage, one thing you'll also notice when looking at it that is different from the P2, if you guys have one of those, is that the actual red dot on it itself is smaller. So the P2 has a 3.5 MOA dot. This one has a 2.5 MOA dot, so a little bit smaller, again giving you the added precision that you'd probably want out of a carbine. So over here on this particular side of the optic itself is where you have your adjustment, so you can either press the plus or the minus button and that will turn the optic on. Press and hold the minus button and that will turn it off. That said, so far, again, I've had mine for almost 2 years. I have had zero reason to turn it off at all. It has remained on the entire time, and the battery rating is going to be 50,000 hours, so roughly 5 years on the, I believe, the setting 7. And I've had mine on the setting where if you are out in bright sunlight, will you actually see it and pick it up in bright sunlight? That's what I've left mine on. And again, right now we're coming up on 2 years and have had no issues with the battery at all. So the battery has been thriving on that. Speaking of the battery, there is your battery compartment there on the side. Of course, it is O-ring sealed, as you would imagine. Nicely, it does have a flat surface on there, so that way you can use a basic screwdriver. You don't need any special tools for that to actually install your battery when you do so. This optic from the factory, from Aimpoint, and of course from retailers as well, is available in a couple different configurations. They have it with a low mount, so that way if you wanted to use it with, like, say a 45-degree offset mount on an LPVO or even a higher magnification scope, you certainly could do that. We have it here with the Scalar Works mount. This one here is a lower 1/3. They also offer it with two other lower 1/3 mounts that you guys should be seeing here on your screen. I believe one of them is Reptilia, and then they also offer it with a 193 mount, which I believe is Scalar Works as well. So basically you can set it up however you want. That said, the footprint on this is the Acro P2 footprint. So basically, there are a ton of mounts for Acro P2s, as many of you guys know out there. So a ton of different ways to mount it. Now, of course, because it is Aimpoint, it is not super cheap, which we will get into a little bit later on. But before we do that, we do need to thank the sponsor of the video, which is an optic that is a little bit less expensive. And that is the Stinger Combat Optic. It's a mil-spec holographic optic that brings military-grade tech to your rifle. A crisp HD circle dot with a 1 MOA center dot, as well as that 65 MOA outer ring that many of you guys know. It also allows you to select between red and green illuminations with 8 brightness levels that are easy to adjust as the lighting conditions you're shooting in also adjust. The optic is built tough with an aluminum housing. It's both fog and shock proof. However, it only weighs 6.9 ounces. It's lightweight and battle ready. It mounts to Picatinny, Weaver, and Mill standard rails, and it runs on a rechargeable CR123A battery and has auto shutoff to maintain good battery life. Typically, the optic comes in at $240. However, now with my link, it is just $79. That's 67% off for my audience, plus free shipping and a 60-day money-back guarantee. You head over to mcgtac.com/GNG to pick one up. So with that out of the way, another thing to talk about, of course, is going to be the windage and elevation adjustments. So, of course, this is made in Sweden. That is going to be one of the selling points of this optic. People will ask, who is this for, if you will? It's for someone, in my opinion, who wants a very high quality optic that is submergible, I believe down to 15 meters, and isn't made in China. I think that is a key selling point of it, both for law enforcement and military personnel. So this one's made in Sweden. So of course, everything's in metric. So of course, it's retarded. In all seriousness, metric's actually a better system, but in America, you know how we are. So there is that. So basically, it does come with the Aimpoint tool, but you don't need it. It is a basic Torx wrench on their head, so that way you can adjust it. And each click is very tactile, very audible. Each click is 20 centimeters at 100 meters, not yards, which equates to roughly, I think, 0.6 or 0.7 inches at 100 yards. So it is fine enough for most rifle applications, at least in my personal opinion. Some of you guys may want a 0.25 MOA. If that is the case, go ahead and get yourself an Aimpoint T2. They will hook you up with that, and you guys can have your refined zeroing point. That said, most rifles are not capable of accuracy good enough for that to matter in my personal experience, but feel free to rant about it down below in the comments section. So with that, price point, like we talked about with the actual amounts out there, the MSRP, again, we can't say price points on YouTube, but the MSRP is 599 units of measure. So not super expensive again for an Aimpoint. Like we just mentioned, the T2, look at the MSRP on that, it's north of $1,000. So if you want an Aimpoint at a relatively budget-oriented option, if you will, or price point with a high-quality mount, because again, these are all, as of right now anyway, when I'm filming this video, are all coming with very high-quality mounts, then it is one that, in my personal opinion, I would take a look at. Of course, the street price is going to be less than that, depending on where you live, of course. So we've had zero issues with it at all, again, outside of the optics covers coming off, but I don't fault it for that. It was in some pretty rough terrain and has the scuffs and all of that to prove it. Never lost zero. We used this on a AR-15 at first for like the first couple of months I had it in, and then again it moved over to this B&T, which actually this has probably a harsher recoil impulse than most of your AR-15s out there. And again, zero issues of any kind at all. It's been on the entire time. It has not moved in terms of zero. It has done everything you want an optic to do. I didn't mention it has 10 brightness settings. 8 of those are daylight and 2 of those are night vision. For night vision, it looks pretty darn good in my opinion. It's not quite as good as the T2, but it is good enough to work in just about every single situation. So if you guys want that night vision capability, it absolutely does have it on there. And I think with that, we're going to close the video out. It's a relatively short video because outside of the optics covers, everything works. That makes videos easy to make. So there is that. If you guys like this video and you're not subscribed, make sure you hit the subscribe button, whether you're watching on YouTube, Rumble, or X. Speaking of social media, make sure you guys are following me on all my social media, because when this thing goes on sale in any of the different configurations that it goes in sale on, they will first go up on my social media, so that way you guys can take advantage of it. And then it will also go in my daily deals email. You can sign up for that at the website here on your screen. And the reason we have a couple different email lists is because YouTube, other places are censoring your eyes from my content via an algorithm. So to get around that, you can sign up for the email at the website that we just mentioned here. This will get you put on 2 different email lists. The first one goes out every day, as the name indicates, with the daily deals email. And it has typically 8 to 10 of the best deals that we find around the internet on a given day, whatever it is, ammunition, magazines, optics, lights, lasers, firearms themselves. If the item is in the email on a given day, it's the cheapest I know of for that item on that day, because I've already done the price comparisons for you. So that way, hopefully it saves you some money and saves you guys some time as well. That signing up for that email rather will also get you put on the monthly email that goes out, and that email has all the videos since the previous month's email, so that way you guys aren't being censored by a big tech algorithm. It goes straight from me into your email inbox once a month, and you guys can see all the content that I put out there in that particular email. And then lastly, we do have an SMS list. As the name indicates, it goes into your text box, and you can sign up for that by texting the word gear to the number here on your screen, or if you want to do it the old school way, you can also visit the website here on your screen and manually sign up. Regardless, that text message goes out at most once a day. Typically has one of two things rather in it, either a smoking deal that I know is going to sell out relatively quickly, or I believe is anyway, or it has a new video that just dropped, so that way, once again, we're getting around the algorithmic censorship that we experience on many platforms here, and you guys can actually see my videos because it goes straight into your text box. So that is it. Full disclosure, Aimpoint did send this out. I figured that was probably assumed because I had it before it was released, but just full disclosure on that, they don't get to see this video before anybody else, and they're not paying me or anything like that. And with that, that's all I got for you. Thank you all for watching. I truly appreciate it, and I look forward to seeing everybody in the next video.